on our third mystery chocolate tasting. We have a very special guest, Bettina Campolucci. I just said Bettina. Let's try that again. Bettina Campolucci Bordi, who is the founder of Bettina's Kitchen. She is a chef and the author of several cookbooks, and is an incredible stylist, food stylist as well. And she teaches a chef's course for people to become chefs for retreats, which is on all of what she does is plant-based and delicious. Welcome, Bettina. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the lovely introduction.
So, was there anything you wanted to add?
Not really. I think that you're brilliant because you come and teach on these wonderful retreat chef academies. So my love for you is right back at you.
Thank you. This is nice. This is why I do this, just so people give me lots of love, really. And so we have 5 chocolates this evening, and if you haven't been on a call with us before, we will, I hope you'll have your scissors and water. We will go through them in a slightly different order to what's printed on the sheet. But the plan is that you will use the chat function. So go ahead and say hi in the chat function and figure out how to use it. And you can read everybody else's. You don't have to contribute, but it's really interesting to see what people think of the flavors. Oh, I left my tasting wheel in the other room. Darn it. Have you got your tasting wheel there, Bettina?
Yes, I've got my tasting
wheel. Can you hold it up for everybody just to... Yay, thank you.
Brilliant. It's like...
So there are...
See how many flavors there are in here.
Yeah, there are more, but that was just kind of what would fit on the wheel, basically. That should cover most of the things. So how to use that is to start at the center, and then that will be the general category that you might taste, and you can taste multiple categories at one time. And then from there, you will move further outwards, and you might be able to define it more closely. And if you get nothing other than chocolate when you taste, that is also fine. Although some of the chocolates that we're tasting have additional ingredients, so hopefully you'll be able to taste those. Any questions so far? Has anyone said anything in the chat? Oh, I just don't have it open. Yay. There we go. Ooh. Now I can see it. So if you have any questions as we go, put them into the chat. I'm aiming that we should get through all the chocolates by 8:40 p.m. UK time. So good afternoon to people in the US. And then we'll have 20 minutes for questions. So start thinking of things you might want to ask. And
I don't know how to write the chat.
To write?
The chats, can you see it?
Okay, so number 1 chocolate, the discs.
Ooh, let's have a look.
If you just do a wave, if you haven't had normally at the beginning of these, I've been doing the how to taste chocolate properly, so I can go through it super quickly. It's basically what's written on the back of the tasting wheel, but we will just have a look at your chocolate and see that it is nice and shiny, no white spots, not guaranteed depending on how it traveled and got to you and how you've been storing it. But the white spots are the cocoa butter, which is the natural fat rising to the surface. So it'll still be edible if you've had to store it in the fridge and it's bloomed a little bit. That's what we call it when it's the cocoa butter separates. You can also get a sugar bloom, which is more likely to happen in the fridge, which is the humidity, which will cause the sugar to rise to the surface. So it might end up a bit sticky. Hopefully not if you kept it all in the plastic and didn't take it out of the plastic until it got back to room temperature, which may be melting. Okay, so that's what it should look like. And then we are going to snap it. This is a bit, if your room is hot, you may not get the typical clicking sound. It sounded a lot better on a different day. And this is when you take a really deep inhale, because just after you snap it is when you will get most of the flavor. Aroma, I should say. So for those of you, if it has bloomed in the fridge, it's more of a problem if it's stored like that for a really long time. So what happens is when the cocoa butter comes to the surface, it is even more likely to absorb flavor, which means that you will potentially end up with chocolate that just tastes a bit weird, and so that's what hits your mouth first. So if you have chocolate that's bloomed, you can always re-temper it. You kind of need a decent amount to do that. I tend to use it for baking, but because this has only been in your homes for about a week, it should be fine even if it's bloomed. Any flavors? Oh, sorry, yes, the color. Yes, thank you. This is the green star. Apologies. God, this smells good. So good. I haven't eaten it yet. When it comes to tasting, if you don't already know, then take a small piece, chew on it a few times, and then let it, try to suck on it like it's a sweet. And it's particularly important with really fine craft chocolate, because sometimes you might miss the subtleties of the flavour. Oh no, I just remembered I was going to do something. Come back to it.
Right, where's the chocolate wheel? Oh, that's what it tastes like. Will you tell us about where the chocolates and stuff are from as well?
Yes, I will. So I am curious if anyone wants to take a guess at, well, a guess at any flavour notes that you're picking up. And if it matches the taste and matches the aroma as well. And you want to guess at the percentage. Okay, interesting. So if you're having one circle each, try not to finish it. I'll explain why in a minute. Woody, berries?
Coffee-ish. It's quite peppery.
I've tasted this several times throughout the day, and every time it's tasted different. It's kind of, yeah, bizarre.
Really? I'm going to have another bite.
Interesting. So we've got berry, leafy, woody, roasted coffee, earthy, woodsy, 60%, 80%.
Yeah, it tastes earthy.
Okay, so what I want to do, I'm hoping that you all also had a tiny little packet of cocoa nibs in your...
Yes.
Yeah, they should be stuck in there somewhere. So if you can open those and now taste a cocoa nib. So this is the first time I put cocoa nibs in, and because this ended up being kind of like
see you.
the healthy.
I cannot see you.
I'm not sure why.
Oh, it might be if you might have pressed away.
Hang
on. If you go to the top right corner, you can view it differently, I think.
If I'm talking now, can you see me?
Oh, there we go.
I think everyone else can see you.
Yeah? Okay, thank you. Okay, so have you eaten the cocoa nibs yet, or? Yes, okay. So any thoughts on the cocoa nibs?
Fruity.
Yeah, that's what I got when I had one earlier. It was just like, what's interesting about cocoa nibs is when you buy them in a bag of cocoa nibs, you end up with a whole potential flavor variety. So they could have come from slightly different varieties of cocoa. They could have been fermented slightly differently. The pods could have been picked at a different time. So you might end up with different flavors. So I have told this story before to some of you perhaps, that I was given a box of peeled cocoa beans, and some of them tasted like pineapple and others tasted like really floral, and some were just really nutty, some were really just chocolatey, and then others were like eating dirt, and I had to spit them out. And this was a premium box of cocoa beans that was supposed to all be really fancy. So if you make all of that into a bar of chocolate, you might end up with all of those flavors, and hopefully the dirt will get, you know, be so rare that you wouldn't taste it in a really fine bar of chocolate. But if you are tasting some nibs, sometimes you can get one that's not so good, and some you get that are fruity and delicious. So now I want you to go and taste another piece of the Green Star chocolate of that disc and see if it affects how the flavor delivers. Because this way we'll all have tasted the same thing before, so it might change your experience.
Oh, wow. It's a lot sweeter.
Yeah. So cocoa nibs don't have any sugar in them naturally, as most of you will know.
That's amazing. It's taken the bitterness, the edge off.
Yeah, that's why I included them in this packet, because I wanted you to experience what this particular chocolate tastes like.
Excuse me, while I was trying to get to see you, I do not know which one you were trying after the first one.
Was it the Red Star?
The green one again. The green one again.
No, and
Yeah, but before the green?
The cocoa nibs, the pieces of the bean.
Okay.
This one?
Yeah, the pieces of the bean. There's the tiny little nibs. The only one that isn't chocolate, the very tiny little packet. So did you find it different? Can you just wave if you think that one is, wave or use the wave signal if you think that one, if it tasted different. And can you put a thumbs up if you think it tasted better? Some and some. Cool. It's a lot smoother, very, very sweet, yummy. Okay, so shall I do the big reveal? What are your thoughts, Bettina?
That was really interesting. That's amazing. It's like magic, isn't it? Yeah. I didn't mind the first tasting, but it had a nice sort of sweet finish the second time around.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm so into reading banana cocoa nibs. That's the reason why I always tell people to have 100% chocolate in their house, because once you have 100%, and which is, you know, why I put it as the optional bar. Sorry, I keep rocking the laptop. Once you have taste 100%, everything else afterwards tastes really sweet. So if you are struggling to enjoy dark chocolate, you can kind of work your way up by starting with 100%. Yeah. So 60 mineral, long finish. Oh, I love all these things. So this is a really special bar. I'm going to do the big reveal now. And it's actually from a maker that I have already used in one of these tastings. I actually was planning not to repeat any yet. And in the next one, they'll be brand new and there won't be any repeats. But this one I had in the house, and I thought it fit really well. So yes, I had 1 kilo of this chocolate in the house. This is from the chocolate tree, and it is Porcelana 85%. So this is a high cocoa content chocolate. So it's interesting that some of you thought it was quite a lot lower, and especially I think after you taste the cocoa nib. But it is relatively delicate. Sometimes when I tasted this, I got that real kind of grassy, almost earthy note. And then other times it was just really bright fruit. And that is because the Porcelana variety, which is grown in Venezuela, is a really remote area. And it's supposed to be the purest of the finest Criollo beans, which are the really rare. There's like less than 5% of all the cocoa that's grown in the world is Criollo. It means original. And the Porcelana is named because the pods look quite smooth and they're elongated, but also the beans inside are supposed to be, I haven't seen this with my own eyes, but the legend has it they are all white. So when they are, before they're fermented and roasted, they're all white. So that's why it's called Porcelana. And it has so many different flavor notes, which is why you were all picking up on different things. It's one of the most flavor complex beans.
Is that the one?
So this is, I'm still talking about this one.
Is that, so that it says is Red Star?
The green. This is the green.
Oh, is that the green one?
Yeah,
Ah, cool.
revealing the green.
Oh, wicked. So that's 85%, is it?
Yes.
Ah, cool.
Yeah. So it's got some sugar to kind of like lift it a little bit, because sugar tends to, I guess if you're a whiskey drinker, it's like adding that drop of water and it just brings out the flavors usually. Adding cocoa butter to 100% can kind of do the same thing, or to any chocolate. So yes, Edinburgh's finest, exactly, Andrew. So Ali and Federica started their business in 2005, not making from bean to bar at the time, but they're really passionate about the environment. So all of their packaging is recyclable, the insides are compostable. Their big bags, their kilo bags, is home compostable as well. So it's a really, fantastic work that they're doing. Ali's got an interesting TED talk about how eating chocolate can be good for the planet. Eating good chocolate is good for the planet, good for, just good for our soul as well. Everyone agree? Exactly, Andrew. Okay, so ready for the next chocolate. Usually the first one takes the longest. Oats. Oh, I like baked goods. There's so many different notes to this one. I got real butteriness when I tried it again this evening. I got the like the fruitiness, but also this kind of creaminess too. Okay, so the second chocolate, if you saw my email this afternoon, we're going to do it in slightly different order. We're going to try the blue one next, so the Blue Star. Everybody, the Blue Star, which will look slightly different for some of you because that's the way the bar is, and I broke up the bars and divided them. So some of you might have a word on it, and others will just have like 4 pieces in a row.
Ah, cool. That one.
Yes.
The amazing, amazing.
Any aromas?
Are we allowed to taste?
Yes, go ahead. Have a smell first. So the thing about when you're tasting chocolate, if you don't smell it before you put it in your mouth, and you could try this for yourself in a moment, if you don't smell it first, then you won't actually be able to smell it once it's in your mouth. It'll be much, much subdued.
It smells very fruity. Bird feedy.
Experienced bird food. Although people always tease me that I eat bird food because I eat so many nuts and seeds. Former colleagues, one of who's on the call. Okay. Peppery, coconut, aniseed. And can I see a thumbs up if you like this one? You can do that, or use the thumbs up icon.
Not sure.
Most people. Cool. More popular than I thought it would be. I think there's a few things that I'll explain in a minute that always popular with everybody. So I just if you think that the percentage is higher, do a thumbs up, and if you think it's lower, use the wave or just wave. Lower. That's correct. Lower is correct. So anyone want to take a guess at the percentage?
60?
So just in case you don't know, I think everybody on this call probably does, but the percentage refers to the amount of the ingredients that come from the cocoa bean or cocoa nibs that you were tasting before. And in a dark bar, the rest of it should be just sugar. And for a dark bar, it really should be a minimum of 60% to be considered a fine quality chocolate, right up to 100. And for milk, it's usually between 30 to 50, and then it starts getting called a dark milk. Well, I'm not exactly sure where the percentage starts for dark milk. Maybe one of the chocolate makers on the call can tell me. So 60, 50. Oh, you guys are good. Yes, so this one is a 55%. And the coconut that many of you could taste is coconut milk. So it is a dark milk, but being that this is all dairy free, this is the coconut substitutes for the cow's milk. And this is the maker. Anyone familiar with this one? It's the 55% coconut milk. So we've had Scotland and now we've gone to Wales. So Pablo, who runs Forever Cacao, started the business I think in 2010, and he experienced cocoa for the first time as cacao at a friend's birthday party. And so he is, I think, one of the only people to sell, that I know of, I'm sure there are others, ceremonial grade cacao. So I don't know how many of you have heard of the cacao being used for kind of sort of like a meditation, but it's a little bit more mystical. Pablo was described as the first hippie chocolate maker, which is, he's happy with that moniker. So he's a really, really super lovely man and vegan. In fact, the most of the makers this time around are all plant-based themselves, which is why they're making plant-based chocolate. So everything Pablo does is vegan, and all of his chocolate is unroasted. So I should say they're made from unroasted beans. So I can talk more about unroasted and raw now or later as you wish. Maybe I'll wait so we can get on to more tasting, but I'm glad some of you like it. So it's also made with coconut sugar. So it's unroasted cocoa beans, coconut sugar, and coconut milk. And the coconut sugar will typically lend like a molassesy kind of note to sort of licorice note, which is what I thought some of you might not like, because licorice tends to not be a winner for everybody, as does coconut. So I wasn't sure if there'd be so many of you who like it, but I'm glad that you do. And yeah, Pablo is super lovely, as are all the chocolate makers, to be fair. But yeah, if you're ever interested in ceremonial grade cacao, Pablo is your man. He used to be a DJ. He's super fun. So I'm just trying to, that's the reason he actually started his business, is because he went with a friend. He got in touch with somebody who was helping to protect the Ashinka tribe in Peru. So all of Pablo's cocoa and cacao are used interchangeably. Generally, cacao is a word that's co-opted by people who are using it for health reasons or for the ceremony, and typically refers to cocoa before it's roasted. But you could use either word at either time and it would be correct. But he realized how this group of people were really, their livelihoods were at risk. And so he thought that by helping the people who were already helping them to grow cocoa, it would, in a more agroforestry sustainable way, and buying that cocoa and turning it into bars to sell it, it would help. So that's really the core mission of Forever Cacao, to help save the Amazon, basically. So like Ali at Chocolate Tree, they're both really passionate about conservation, and properly growing cacao is really a very positive part of trying to save our planet. Yay! Right, third chocolate. Now we're going to do the Red Star. Which, thank you very much.
Oh, it's got stuff in it.
Yes. I'm standing on my daughter's play mat and barefoot, and feet keep sticking to it, but it's a lot better than standing on the hard floor.
Oh.
Red, yes, red.
Quite nice. I like this one.
Raspberry and pistachio.
Quite nice.
Okay. The great thing about chocolate, good chocolate, is that the taste should linger in your mouth even after it's completely melted. So hopefully, while I'm talking, you're still tasting chocolate and not like super desperate to get to the next one. I'm also kind of intentionally leaving a little bit of a gap so that when you get to tasting the next one, you're not too influenced by the one before. It's unavoidable, which is why generally in my tastings, it's I try and, you know, if there's going to be chili in a chocolate, I would leave it to the end. So oat milky, strawberry, freeze-dried red berry, raspberry, goji, marshmallowy. Yeah, I get all this. Okay, so can I see a thumbs up if you like this chocolate? Mm. Some and some. Okay. So the ingredients, what did you think, Bettina?
I strangely really like this one. It's not sort of, I don't know. I like it.
It's kind of more.
Yeah, it's got nice caramelly flavors. It's got a little bit of berry in. It's quite smooth-ish. I quite like it. I prefer it to the last one.
Not everybody does. So I see some head shaking. So this is, it is raspberry, freeze-dried raspberry pieces, for those of you who picked up on that, well done. And there is another ingredient beyond another flavored ingredient.
Ooh.
It's kind of a couple. So I'm just curious, actually, how would you say the percentage is higher or lower? You wave for lower. Sorry, thumbs up for higher and wave for lower.
Ooh. Than the previous one?
Yes. Oh, it's mixed.
People
are abstaining. Either that or they think it's the same.
Oh.
Didn't offer. They only have 2 icons. So I'm going to assume that those of you abstaining thought it was the same, and going to give you credit for being accurate. So this is exactly the same cocoa percentage, which explains why some of you thought it was above and some of you thought it was below. Although, having said that, it's very difficult to tell in some chocolate. So I've had 70% that tasted as bitter as like blackened toast, and 70% that tasted incredibly sweet. So it's not that easy to tell. Yes, so the fruit, so yes, this chocolate is slightly veering away from the general theme of these tastings, but it is called Cacao. So it's run by a Finnish woman, but she lives in England. So, and it's using excellent beans from Ecuador. And so what's unique about this particular chocolate is that it also has some coconut milk in it. So it's not, to me, a particularly like a milky chocolate. Actually, when I remembered it, I didn't even remember it had coconut milk in it. But it's sweetened with dates rather than wheat or cane or coconut sugar, which so whole dates dried, which means that you get the fiber and a lot less sugar. But obviously dates have a flavor of their own, so it gives that. And then the other ingredient is, did I already say, the vanilla, which is why many of you thought, I think, vanilla, and thought of marshmallow and caramel and nougat, because that's the same thing, same flavor notes. So Stephanie, who runs this business, has an original flavor in the strawberry and vanilla. I thought this one was a little bit more fun and interesting, but they're both delicious. And there is, in a 40-gram bar, then only 10 grams of sugar. So this is like has less sugar in it than a 70% dark chocolate. And Bettina could probably speak more about why dates is better as a sweetener.
Yeah, contains lots of more good stuff.
And
Get a lot more for less.
Yes, you get a lot more flavor without as many kind of empty calories, I guess. But you know, as long as it tastes delicious, that's the most important thing. If it tastes good.
Yeah,
really.
That's quite nice. I'm quite. It's interesting because I don't like things that are too datey. But that's quite nice.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to necessarily tell that had dates in it.
No.
But it's a little bit dated, but not in the way that, like, sometimes when we make the hot chocolate on the day that I do as part of your retreat chef course, that can be quite strong in the date, so that could be quite obvious, but I feel like it's a bit more subtle here.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Okay, chocolate is a fruit. It is definitely a fruit. So it's 2 fruits, like 2 of your 5 a day. I'm sorting you all out. So the fourth, we're at 4th, is the Orange Star.
Ooh, that looks very milky.
I'm trying to see, some of them I have, but not that one. Orange Star. Help them. Okay. Anything on the aroma?
Oh.
Thank you for sharing, Dom. You'll get a lot of flavour from a dried date, which that might be why we taste it more in the hot chocolate, because they're not dried. I mean, not. Like,
Yeah.
Dates are already dried, generally, but to make it into chocolate, you really have to extract every last little morsel of moisture. Otherwise, you would end up with chocolate that goes moldy. And which is why I don't think anyone had done it before Stephanie, but there are other companies doing it now. Sherbet, yes. Very sherbety. Terry's chocolate orange.
Yeah, definitely orange.
So can I see a thumbs up if you like this one?
No.
No, not an orange chocolate fan.
I don't like it.
Is it the orange or is it the chocolate?
It's the orange. I don't like chocolate orange combo. Not for me.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously that's like the first question I ask everybody on the tours is what's your favorite chocolate, or if it's easier, just something you don't like. And chocolate orange comes up in both lists, like Mick does.
Yeah.
It's like I love it or I hate it. Yeah, I ate so many chocolate oranges. Like they were the posh chocolate when I was little, and I would get them instead of Easter eggs as well as at Christmas. And then they brought it out in the bar form, and so all through university, that was like my main chocolate that I ate. And I like got quite sick of them, so I didn't like chocolate orange for a while. But I had this, and just, yeah, it was nostalgic and good for me. Too milky sweet, interesting.
Yeah, I agree about the texture. It's a bit. I don't know what it is. Definitely, I'd say this is my favorite so far. It's quite milky, but not in a good way.
I feel like it's much more like childhood chocolate, like dairy milk.
Yeah, 100%.
Caveat that with the fact that this is when you have milk alternatives, they're even, or in fact, like just any milk versus a dark chocolate, it's even more susceptible to heat. So for me, this didn't taste. The texture is quite cloying now, but when I had it last week when it wasn't 30+ degrees, it was a lot better. Like, I mean, I still love it now, but the texture was a lot better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not bringing out the best of its texture. But their standard milk is also amazing. I think this is like an incredible chocolate for people who love confectionery and miss it. I mean, I love confectionery. I just like have it, and I think I love it, and then I have it and find it's just really sickly sweet and quite disgusting. And the companies that make them are, killing people and the planet. So, not to put too fine a point on it. So I love that this chocolate is providing that for people for when you want that nostalgia, kind of really creamy chocolate, whilst being vegan and plant-based, and then still not super high in sugar. So lower, yes, lower, higher. I think this is lower. It's probably
lower.
this one, yeah. So this is actually 42%. So it's still quite high for a milk chocolate. And I think if you compared this to a supermarket milk chocolate, it would actually taste really strong in chocolate. So everything's relative after the ones we've just had. But it's a really wonderful company. I started in 2018, and it's called the Wellbeing Company. They're made in London. And at the moment they have just the 2 plain and orange plus a peanut bar, so which is kind of like a Snickers. It's thick and chunky. And they have used a blend of different milks. So there is some coconut, but there is also, annoyingly, it's not written on here and now I've forgotten. There are other milks in there. I'm trying, left a bit of paper that said where it is, which I think is what makes it more, I think, less obvious. Whereas when you taste a lot of the dairy-free chocolates and they're made with coconut, you can taste the coconut, which is off-putting for some people, but this is a blend. So the person who started this company, Charlie, he was working in mental health, and so had become plant-based himself and wanted to create a chocolate that was plant-based, but also money from every bar goes towards mental health charities. So they've done a lot of good work. So it's a really fantastic company. And when I asked them how much these would be to buy, they've just asked for donation to the charities instead. So really lovely people. So go and buy some chocolate from them. Go and buy chocolate from all of them, whatever you like. So that is the 4th chocolate. Thank you, Dom. Rice and cashew. There we go. And then the final chocolate is the yellow hearts with the yellow sticker. This one I actually have one.
Oh, I'm very intrigued about these.
Okay, have a smell of this one. Oh dear. This one's been out too long. Ending. White chocolate melts the quickest. So we've gone the full spectrum from heavy dark down to white. Yeah, it's super sweet after everything else. Ooh, green tea, cardamom, peppery, turmeric, cashew. Good job. Louisa, somebody. So I encourage you, if you can, try not to finish all of your piece of all of these chocolates tonight, and then try all of them again tomorrow or the next day, but not in the same order. So like wait a few hours between tasting them, because you will experience them differently. So after all these other chocolates, this might just feel really cloying and sweet. But when you're actually in the mood for something sweet, then try this again, and I think you'll appreciate it in a different way. To me, it's kind of like ice creamish in its kind of creamy vanilla-ishness. And I try to eat more of, as I say, I try to eat more white chocolate and milk chocolate in the evenings if I'm craving chocolate, because the cocoa part, when you, in the cocoa bean, you have cocoa and cocoa butter, and the cocoa bit is the bit that's a stimulant. So if I'm craving chocolate, I try and veer towards this. It's definitely best kept in the fridge in this weather. It's not too bad in normal British non-summer. Yes, so turmeric coconut. Oh, yes. It doesn't actually have any coconut in it. So the non-dairy in this one. Oh, did I ask you if you liked it? Can I see a thumbs up if you like this one? Not so many.
Half.
I think that you should all try it again tomorrow. And if you really dislike white chocolate, then it probably won't win you over. but yeah, and the texture. Try it. If it's still hot tomorrow, try it straight from the fridge.
Yeah. I think fridge would be a good idea.
Yeah, or not, maybe not quite straight from the fridge, but a few minutes afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, do try it again, because it's when you're craving something sweet, and I think you'll enjoy it more. So this one has a lot of ingredients. It is called Rooibos Cacholet, because it is made with cashew milk as the dairy substitute. And it's actually it's white chocolate cashew turmeric matcha tea. So I put on this as the allergy of matcha, of caffeine because of the matcha, but it's not actually the traditional Japanese matcha. It is rooibos, the non-caffeinated, not even a tea. It's that is ground into a powder. So it has that, plus unrefined sugar, cocoa butter, of course, and turmeric, as many of you guessed, cinnamon, ginger, black pepper, and vanilla, which I think is what makes me think of ice cream. And when you have black pepper and turmeric together, you help to increase the bioavailability of all the good stuff in both of them. I'm not sure of the quantities, how much you have to eat, but this is, I should show you, this is by Louisa. Is that clear? This camera's not great and as it gets darker. Her company's called Louisa's Vegan Chocolate. So Louisa used to be a teacher, and then 4 years ago started playing around with chocolate, and in 2019 won the UK Rising Star from the Academy of Chocolate for her chocolates. She won a gold for her 92%. She's got 100%, and she is doing incredible work helping to change the lives of Colombian women who there's some stories that I read that I won't go into, but it's pretty horrific, the conditions and the misogyny that happens there and the violence. And so by helping them to grow cocoa that can be sold at a better price, then they're creating some independence. And so she has some bars that are named using beans just from the female farmers, and they're delicious as well. But she sent me her full range, and the 72% that she has of a couple of different origins are fantastic. She has a milk cacholet, it's sweet but very good, and then a hazelnut version as well, which is delicious. And while we're here, I will shout out the fact that Ali and Frederica of the Chocolate Tree also have a Janduya bar, which is just cocoa beans and hazelnuts and sugar, so it's vegan and fantastic. And so do Solkiki, who were in the first tasting. There, everything they do is entirely vegan, and they have two versions of hazelnut bars, one that is white chocolate and one that is dark, or milk technically, I guess, because hazelnut kind of is a dairy alternative, but they're both fantastic too. I'm not paid by any of these people to say nice things, but I just think they're wonderful, and they're all working really hard, and chocolate making is a business you do for love, not because you think you can pay your bills, never mind become a millionaire. So yeah, they're all wonderful. I'll put all of these in the email that I send out as well. If you're not getting them, check your junk mail for my name, or Chocolate Ecstasy Tours. Tasting chai latte? Yeah, cool. Any questions? Tina, do you have any questions or any thoughts on any of the chocolate?
I think it's amazing that there's so many bars out there now that are dairy free, and there's so many amazing options. It's fab. I avoid dairy, so it's fantastic, and there's such a wide variety as well, and there's sort of there's not a one size fits all. These are so different, so I think it's great. And it's amazing that they all come from small suppliers that do it for the love and the passion of chocolate. It's fab. I think I definitely know which one my favorite is. I think it's the first one we had. That's totally that's the winner for me.
Curious, that makes sense.
I like the raspberry one as well. That's a surprise, because that's something that I usually wouldn't like, because it's quite sweet, but I don't know, it's definitely something that I'd consider having. Yeah, I went in for a second bite, so it's great. Love doing this. Yay. What great thing to do. Wednesday evening, eat chocolate.
Any other thoughts on what's your favorite? Do you want to put it in the chat, and I'll come back to the questions in a second. So first I'll start. Green. You are all purists, aren't you?
Yeah, first one. The green one.
Blue. Red.
You got the taste, guys.
Oh, it's getting some in the last one. Excellent. I'm glad there's some mixed. I'd love you if you taste them again over the next few days, and after I send you the email, which should be tomorrow, which will hopefully have the link to this live in case there's anything you wanted to listen to again, and link to this live, link to this, so if you want to listen again, but it will have the list of all the chocolate makers and direct links if you want to go to their websites. Yeah, if you do try them again, please reply to that and let me know if it changed what your favorite was.
Amazing. How any tips on sort of how to keep chocolate? So when you buy chocolate, how long does it last? When do you know chocolate's off?
So dark chocolate will never go off unless it's tainted by something. So if like animals, insects get into it, it will get less good. So the sooner you eat chocolate, the best before date is, because the makers think that it will deteriorate after that time. And by deteriorate, it means that it'll either take on other flavors depending on how well it's packaged, or release other flavors. If it's really well packaged, in theory that won't happen. So unless it changes temperatures in the whatever environment that it's in. So if you could keep chocolate between 16 and 18 degrees forever, as I think Martin Christie is doing some experiments with, long periods of time, but it does get less good. But when you temper chocolate again, so melt it, cool it down, melt it, and then cool it to set, you can release and reinvigorate chocolate, so it will taste a lot better. With milk and white chocolate, they will go rancid. The fats in them will, and whether that's a nut or an oat, or the fats in that will go rancid over time. So those ones need to kind of be eaten within the best before. You can eat them afterwards without being ill, most likely, and I don't think even the rancid tasting them won't make you sick unless you were to eat a lot of it, and then I have no idea. So if you haven't, rancid dairy is a specialty in some countries, I believe. Yes. James, you're getting a lot of love from J. Coco. So somebody asked about dancing too. Somebody asked about the raw versus unroasted. So the raw food movement is the idea that food, Bettina can probably explain this better than me, but the idea that food loses its nutrients over 42 degrees Celsius, which I don't particularly agree with. I think there's a lot of foods that actually release more nutrients over that temperature. But when people talk about raw chocolate, it's a bit of a misnomer, because during the fermentation period process, it will go above 42 degrees. So typically what they mean is it's not roasted, and that's part of the process of making regular chocolate, is roasting it just like you would with coffee, and roasting it is over 100 degrees. So that roasting it is done to improve the flavor generally, but also, bacterially, it's kind of a good thing to do. The raw chocolate have other methods for making sure that it's not going to make you sick. But raw chocolate tends to have a quite a green, grassy note to it. So a lot of it is terrible because it's sold under the idea that it's healthier for you, whereas a lot of the health studies on chocolate have been done with regular roasted cocoa bean chocolate, and still have shown positive effects on heart health and a few other things. I think really mainly only heart health is actually kind of statistically valid. It's some people really like the taste and are figuring if they, if just in case it's worth going for unroasted beans. Did I miss other questions? Yeah, variation of temperatures, the biggest problem. Buy a chocolate fridge. I really wanted one, but we not yet. One day. We have a relatively cold room in our house, but it's still hit 26 degrees, unfortunately. So, yeah. Yes, wine fridge. Yeah, that's what I meant by chocolate fridge. Just I was going to buy a wine fridge and set it to chocolate temperatures. So, any other questions? You're all quiet tonight. Is it the heat? Yeah.
Yeah. It's been
nobody's slept for the last few nights, have they?
Oh my God, we sleep with a 7-year-old sausaged between us. That likes to sort of gravitate towards me and leech on.
Maya woke up at 10:30 last night just as I was going to bed, and then didn't go back to sleep until 1:30, and I was awake at 6.
Oh my God. It's so hot. Anyways, we shouldn't complain because a few months from now we'll all be wishing it was sunny again.
Yes, and especially we may not be able to escape anywhere sunny. I haven't done a whole English winter in a few years. It could be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm missing. Sorry, I haven't seen any. Oh, my favorite. So I chose all of them because I love them. So I wasn't as sure about the orange one because I generally preferred the plain milk from Wellbeing. So I did really overdose too much on orange chocolate in my life. But I still really loved it anyway. And I like them all for different moods. I'm a bit of a purist and would usually go for plain dark chocolate, but I like pieces, so I love the cacao one for that. And yeah, it's really nice because I'm trying not to eat too much dairy to have like a white chocolate that doesn't have dairy in it. Not the best answer. Oh, cuddling a bottle of ice. That's a good idea. A walk-in chocolate cellar. That is what I wanted. That's what the room in our house was supposed to be, but yeah, it failed this heat wave. Air conditioner next summer. Saving up. Environment. I'm going to skip lines. Common mistakes when making your own chocolate. That is an excellent question. If you mean from the bean, James and Dom are probably better able to answer. But the challenge with making your own chocolate is you do need special equipment that will set you back a couple of £100 at a minimum to make it on a small scale. Because the grinding machine in particular, so chocolate should be ground or conched for a minimum of really 24 hours in order to get it smooth. So good luck doing that with a mortar and pestle. From hearing from other chocolate makers, one of the biggest challenges is when you will get sent some cocoa from a farm, and you'll get sent 1 kilo and it'll be fantastic, and then you'll order more and it won't be as good, which is incredibly frustrating. And the other big challenge, I believe, is winnowing. So the process of removing the shell from the bean, which doesn't taste very good and will make your bar gritty. And there aren't very good commercial machines for that. So anyone starting out tends to use a hairdryer and then cobble together their own using vacuum cleaners or something, or spends a lot of money buying one. And then you still have to hand sort it afterwards. Very labor intensive process. I'm planning to do some videos with some chocolate makers and with some cocoa farmers that will be recorded separately and put on social/YouTube channels. So if you have any ideas about things you'd like to see or questions that you want me to explore with the people who know the answers to those kind of questions better than me, please send me an email. The next chocolate tasting is live for sale now, back to like all the things. And and I've confirmed 3, confirming the 4th chocolate in that one now, and it's some of my favorites that I've been waiting to put in because they didn't have them in stock for previous ones, so it's going to be just as good, if not better, than the ones that we've had so far. Dairy-free tradition. Oh, that is a good question. And it kind of relates to the other question about whether what types of milk. So for a long time it was coconut, which I think put people off. Pump Street and Land Choc have done an oat milk version. James has got one with tiger nuts. Is that right, James? Yep, nodding, cool. Thank
Wow.
Yeah, pretty cool. It must be really hard to get the texture in that though, because they are very fibrous. And then I've had some with just rice milk before, but they are quite insipid. So I quite like the cashew rice combination that that Wellbeing are using. And cashew on its own is quite neutral. Hazelnuts obviously makes it taste like Janduga, which is no bad thing in my view. Next thing. Yeah, so I think that there's still a lot of exploring, and I think to get it to be as close to a dairy as possible, it kind of needs to be a hybrid. I've had soy, doesn't work particularly well when I've tried it in dairy-free chocolates. I'm really washed out here in this lighting. I decided to not have the white background this time. I thought it was a bit dull. This is my kitchen. I'm still deciding what I think is best. I'm a bit over the coconut ones, even though I love coconut. I kind of, when I can taste the coconut, I kind of get disappointed. It doesn't feel like a dairy-free milk. It feels like a coconut chocolate. So I can enjoy it, but not in the same way as I would reach for a typical dairy milk chocolate.
Yeah, I agree with the coconut. It's been overdone. For sure.
Any more questions, or you're desperate to get to bed? Even you guys in the US. Nap time, I'm sure. Well, thank you so much for joining me again, especially for those of you who've come back again and again. I hope you will be supporting some of these guys. I'll send you direct links to their websites if you like them. They've got lots of, all have other varieties as well. So yeah, thank you very much. If you have any questions after the call, feel free to send me an email and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Yeah, hopefully I'll see some of you